Hey everybody, welcome to Ready to Ramble! The wrestling show here at Hyper RPG.
Hello!
Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. Happy to have you with us. There's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Actually,
so much.
Like,
Busy week.
yeah, it's been a real busy week. A real busy week behind the scenes, stuff that's happened on shows. This is going to be one of those episodes where I don't think we're actually going to do too much talking about the Raw and SmackDown results.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff to talk about, of course. There's the Survivor Series card is quickly a-changing.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff that happened outside of the ring, too, this week.
Yep.
ESPN had the Ric Flair documentary. Total Divas is back.
Yeah.
So much going on. I'm Cameron Rice, joined as always.
Janelle Santa Cruz.
And
hello.
hello, everybody. So we recorded last Wednesday. After that, I guess, so the first thing I want to talk about, just to get this out of the way, because this is a very, both funny and sad story. Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake are having a very ugly and personal feud on Twitter. This is from Uprocks. For those who don't know, in the 80s, Brutus Beefcake, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, as he's often better known as, was really one of Hulk Hogan's guys. Debatably, in some wrestling circles, people would think maybe Brutus wasn't actually that talented, but Hulk kept bringing him along as his close best friend. Brutus was also on Hulk Hogan's show, Thunder in Paradise. He then came over to WCW. So Brutus Beefcake has always kind of been associated with Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
So all this, I guess, started off on Twitter. The first two tweets are not showing. This is, again, over on Uprocks. But Hulk Hogan recently sent out a tweet saying he was thinking about going full Stone Cold, which meant finally cutting his Tony Soprano hair. And someone had tweeted at Brutus Beefcake and said, "Hey man, I think Hulk Hogan's looking for a haircut. This, that, and the other." This is Brutus's response. "Working on my book, which is fastly becoming a tell-all. Hold on to your bandanas, brother. It's about to get real."
Ooh, the shade.
Hulk Hogan, got the bandana glued on tight. Get a good lawyer, brother.
What?
Oh.
And then it gets more and more. "Do not share the story of me, the fabulous Moolah, and the donkey, or my lawyers will be in touch." That's someone sending a joke tweet to Brutus. Brutus, have to get in line with my ex-wife. She's already threatening, even though she's irrelevant.
Oh.
And then Brutus sends out a picture. We can show this on screen of him and Hulk Hogan at an airport in the 80s. Brutus Beefcake. Here's a rare pic of Terry carrying his own bag.
Oh gosh.
And then it just goes back and forth again. Brutus responding to the bandana. "Get a good lawyer. WTF, bandana glued on. Brother, loosen your hair extensions. They're making you paranoid."
Oh.
Hulk Hogan, he's always been a follower and he has no idea how deep the water is. His leader is leading him into, brother. Officially, I'm done. I will drop down the negative snake line again. I blame it on Tito's and diet. Ike, brother.
Oh,
Brother.
I like that he always signs the end of his tweets HH.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Then Uprocks. Brutus really made it personal by sharing emails with people on Twitter.
Oh my god.
To Missy Beefcake, which I think is his ex-wife. "Had a blast with Terry last night, honey, and he can't stand you. You're trash, and he knows it officially off Team Hogan for life.
What the heck is going on?
And it gets worse and worse between Hogan and Brutus Beefcake. Brutus Beefcake's daughter blocked him.
Oh my goodness.
Completely. Brutus Beefcake is saying Hulk Hogan's influencing his daughter. And then Brutus shared a photo of Hulk Hogan and his ex-wife.
Okay.
Running with the real OG, the real deal, Barbie. You mad? What up? You mad?
Oh my god. Oh, did you want to go back and show the other one, the one of him carrying his own bag, or did we show that?
Yes, we did. We showed that on screen.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So this is insanity, and this is probably why. And then PA is child abuse. Your relationship with your ex has nothing to do with your relationship with your kids. My daughter's completely brainwashed by my ex-wife and believes my new wife is to blame for the breakup. My marriage was over years before.
Oh my gosh.
So 2 guys who were wrestling icons in the 80s have gone insane and made it very public.
Why do that in public?
Social media gone wrong.
Because now we're going to want a mat. No.
Oh my God. Well, did either of you two see that Hulk Hogan documentary that's on Netflix? Not a documentary about Hulk Hogan, but the lawsuit.
Oh,
the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Great documentary. If you have not watched this documentary, I got to remember what it was called, but I think if you just look up Hulk Hogan on Netflix, you'll find it. Because WWE ain't putting none of their stuff on Netflix.
How he took down Gawker or whatever, right?
How he took down Gawker and turned in all this other stuff, and how even if you weren't a fan of Gawker, perhaps the way everything went about, and how Hulk Hogan and who was paying for that and all this stuff is super interesting.
Yeah.
And now it's always interesting too when Hulk Hogan will then try and come up and be like, "I'm going to sue.
Yeah.
I'm going to sue anybody because I brought down a news organization already."
He's got the best team.
So yeah, that's over at Up Rocks, and it's pretty crazy. Not as crazy as the Marty Jannetty story from a couple weeks back. We never talked about this on the show.
No, we didn't talk about that.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, do you know about this? The Marty Jannetty? Okay.
Explain.
We also should talk about Jeff Jarrett too and his antics.
Oh yeah. So Marty Jannetty, basically Marty Jannetty, and people are not sure if it was a hoax or not, or if it was taken down. But this is the New York Post.
Okay.
WWE legend asks Facebook if it's okay to have sex with his daughter.
I'm like, okay, this cannot be real. Why would you ask Facebook? You know.
Well, this was what he put up supposedly. Allegedly. If you love me as much as I love you, you will give your opinion. Just did DNA 2 weeks ago. She's not my daughter, and we both held out of sex because you don't do that. But now that we ain't,
what?
From a guy's side, she's effing hot. But she's been a daughter. I want to too.
Oh my
but
God.
Can't get past that.
No. I'm not. No way.
Why are they using social media?
I'm saying,
Beyond the criminal element of all of this, possible criminal element. Y'all, if you're, I'm sorry, and I do not want to be ageist, but perhaps if you are a wrestler over the age of, let's say, 60, get off social media.
I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. You gotta know when to keep things at home.
It doesn't need to be said. Doesn't need to be said by me. Doesn't need to be said right now.
Right.
Like those three things. Like it's just ridiculous.
Oh
but it is
God.
entertaining for us, right?
Oh, it's super entertaining. But insanity. And again, this is the Marty Jannetty thing is alleged. He's denying that he said that was a Photoshop job. But it was a story.
It was a believable story about you, Marty Jannetty, and that's not okay because all the things that he posts out there, like he's always talking about he's hitting on these women, and they're always like, he's a basket case, and so if the fact that can be tweeted and it's believable, then something's wrong with your reputation.
Yeah, if people are like, I can see it.
Mm-hmm. I can see him saying that.
Let's talk about Jeff Jarrett actually, because I'm not sure. I don't know if I know. All of this.
Jeff Jarrett. So Global Force Wrestling has separated from TNA Wrestling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So TNA again. Oh, that was story too. TNA is apparently paying $50 to people to come see the shows.
Oh,
like they're literally paying.
They're buying an
attendance.
Oh wow.
Which is insanity to me.
TNA.
But continue.
So Jeff Jarrett was booked on an independent show shortly after, and was just belligerent drunk in the back, and actually went out to go wrestle like that, and just made a complete fool of himself. So that was what was going on with him.
Clips of him wrestling.
Yeah, there is. Like he's drunk, and it's not as bad as like the Jeff Hardy thing from a few years ago.
I don't think anything ever can be. Do we want to give context to that? What the Jeff Hardy thing is for those who don't know, maybe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just it was bound. I think it was Bound for Glory. It was Sting versus Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy was real fucked up.
Yeah.
To the point where it was this championship match that they'd been building and building and building, and it was supposed to be like, and it was that Joker Sting era. And so all of a sudden Eric Bischoff comes out and not on the microphone whispers something to Sting. And then basically what he whispered to Sting, it is years now, this thing behind the scenes have been revealed. He basically whispered to Sting like, he's fucked up, just end the match as quickly as possibly can. And so Jeff Hardy is so messed up, and he's walking to the ring, and he like just slumps down on the mat. He's just doing all this tongue stuff like.
Yeah, he's on all these drugs.
Yeah, he looks like a zombie. And the match starts, and Hardy tries to kind of do something, and then Sting just hits him once and then tries to pin him. And because Hardy doesn't know the match is supposed to end right away, he's trying, and Sting is just holding him down. Real quick count to 3, and the fans start booing. I think TNA had to actually reimburse people for their pay-per-view. And Sting clearly standing up and going, I agree. I agree.
Oh my God.
It was. That's one of those. But it's not that bad apparently.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. No, it was just him, and and he got into an argument afterwards with the booker, calling him an amateur. Just because. Yeah, and he. just drunk. He's on a spree right now where he's just drunk like everywhere.
I can't imagine being drunk in wrestling though.
No,
or exercising for that matter.
Yeah,
no, there's so many things I hear when people are like, "Oh yeah, I did this," and then I got stoned and then went and did A, B, or C, and I'm like, "My God,
Good Lord!"
I'm like, play a video game, just chill out. So that's sort of the crazier news. There's other news, and we'll get into that. But I think maybe we should talk a little bit about what did happen on Raw and SmackDown, because then that can get us into some of these stories that we have coming up. So WWE is in England right now, and there's been a lot of little cool things that have happened over there. Mostly that the European wrestlers have been able to pop up on the show. On Raw, and Enzo had to fight. Oh my God, what is that wrestler? He's the current European champion. And I forget his name at the moment.
Tyler Bate or Pete Dunne?
Pete Dunne. So Enzo had a match with Pete Dunne, and that British crowd went nuts.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Obviously so. It was great. And then Tyler was on 205 Live. And so there was a lot of cool little stuff like that. And apparently they're having, there's a report I read today that there's a number of tryouts, about like 30-some European wrestlers
nice.
Went to do tryouts today. So some of the cool stuff that also happened on top of that was, let me see if I can find this, Triple H made an appearance at ICW. For those who don't know, ICW is an independent independent thing in Europe, obviously. And to some extent, it almost seems like, in retrospect, I'm like, oh, well, of course this would have happened, because when they did the 24-hour for Finn Balor, when Finn Balor was coming back on the network, which if you haven't watched that, it's great. Watch that. There is a segment where Finn goes to ICW because that's where he got a lot of his start. And so for the WWE cameras to be there and film Finn and kind of make it look like, oh, this place is cool.
Yeah.
It almost seems like I guess this would have happened.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen a really good ICW match with Finn right before he left with it was British wrestler. The Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh yes.
Zack Sabre Jr. That match is so good because he's got the Joker paint on in that one. Finn Balor. It's like right before he left, and so after he leaves, they're like, thank you, Devitt.
Yeah,
it was really good.
So this was a promo, and I'm only kind of doing the Triple H thing because the audio is not the best. This is off someone's phone.
Yeah.
But Dunn and Bates are going at each other, and then Dunn is like, let me bring out my friend Triple H. So I'll show this real quick.
That's right, I almost forgot. I've got lots of friends at the WWE. Triple H! Get out of here!
And I think the crowd was like, what? And then the music hits, and then when he comes out, you can hear the crowd be like murmuring, like, really, is it?
Yes.
And you see how small this arena is.
I love the smallest scale too.
I think it's the water. Thank you.
Probably like maybe 300 people.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
So like he said, it's good to have friends, right? A little bit busy right now. Just took a second to stop by here. We're just down the road, but I had to stop by. Want to bring the champ with us? So I just wanted to take a second to come here tonight to thank all you. Because the truth is, this is where our business starts. Every single night in a place like this, with guys like this, and a group like ICW. That's where it goes. ICW, Progress, places like that. That's where you see this stuff grow. It's where you see it start. It's where you see it boil up.
NXT! 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 NXT!
And I appreciate you guys supporting it. Whether you're here going nuts for this, and I heard a couple of you booing in the beginning.
The fans can actually talk to him.
I know, you're like, hey, Hunter. Hi, Hunter.
But the truth is, this is where it starts, and we're all no different. We all love this business. I'm no different than every one of you. I started out just a fan, just loving this, thinking it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen, man. And I'm just like this guy here, just like that guy there. Not really like him, but at all. But thank you guys. Thank you for supporting this. Thank you for being here for ICW. Continue to support this because it's going to continue to grow. The UK, England, light the world on fire. The UK, all of this, Europe is going to continue to flourish. We're going to make it bigger than it's ever been before. And this business, we're going to take to new heights. People think the WWE is the biggest. You ain't seen nothing yet. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, nice. That's dope.
So yeah, I wanted to watch the whole thing because I thought that was a worthwhile speech.
Absolutely.
To see
Yeah.
in that kind of a moment, and it's funny. I was thinking about this, like, and also in Triple H stuff, he's been working with the Shield, pulling a Kurt Angle. Let me see if I can find this real quick, including wearing the Shield vest.
The vest.
Ooh, Triple H.
Yeah, here it is. If we can pull
look
this
at
out
that. Oh, yeah.
real quick.
Nice.
Yeah, Triple H right there in the vest, doing the thing. And there was this footage of him also like walking through the crowd, like fist bumping people, and then like anytime someone had a selfie, he was like,
That's so
like that.
awesome.
So Triple H has kind of entered the realm of like, despite what I said last week, where it's like I kind of like it when WrestleManias are not just the McMahon or Helmsley stuff over and over again being like one of the major things. Triple H has kind of entered this realm of like cool uncle of wrestling, despite the fact of his issues with Punk, and we all love Punk.
Right.
It seems to be just like with Punk, but outside of that, it seems like otherwise Triple H has kind of really cultivated this indie appreciation for the indies,
right,
and love for the indies and that kind of a thing.
True. And it comes through in the audience, like they're not going to argue or make fun of him for being part of the Shield and blah 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 because everyone supports him as he's our inside guy in the WWE.
Yeah,
he's our hope.
Yeah, so the other things that happen in Europe too, I guess the big thing, and this is where it changes up the Survivor Series card. Speaking of the Shield, Rollins and Ambrose lost the tag champs. It went back to the Bard.
Cesaro.
Cesaro and Sheamus have the belts again.
Yep.
Which I guess that means so Cesaro and Sheamus are going to go up against the Usos.
Yes.
At Survivor Series again, unless there's another title change hands.
Double heel.
Yeah, double heels again, which is going to be interesting. But it does open up for the Shield.
It may change though.
It could change
before because they're changing the titles just for those matches, I think, and they can easily do that in the go home shows on Monday or Tuesday.
I think the big thing is they want to eventually get the Shield and the New Day to go up against each other. That's what I think.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I think so too. But it was a really good match. The main thing about it was that the New Day was in the crowd, so Kurt Angle made it a lumberjack match. Right. So then all the Raw brand was out around the ring, so that the New Day wouldn't interfere. Other than that, Raw was okay. I don't think there was. We got to see Nia Jax was back. I think it was her first match back against Bayley and Sasha, which was okay. And so we're just seeing more and more of the
like they're developing the split between Sasha and Bayley.
Yeah, and the Survivor Series teams growing. Outside of that, those were the major things that happened on Raw. I mean, Braun Strowman's back. We didn't talk too much actually last week about him erupting out of the garbage.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because there was some pure joy.
I'm not a Braun Strowman girl, but
oh really?
No, not really.
What?
Oh, I like it.
I don't know. I just
Cameron's a Braun Strowman girl.
I am. There's my shirt.
For me, a lot of times when they're strong and big, they don't talk as much, or they're not as charismatic, and I love the charismatic wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
No, that's fair. I think what I like about him is like I felt like they built him up more after he left the Wyatt family. He got more of a natural big guy build. Whereas usually what they'll do, and we saw with like the Great Khali and all these other things, where it's like, here's a big guy. He's now in the he's now in the main event. After being there for a month and green as hell. Whereas with Braun, I think they saw the reaction to him with being in the Wyatt family, and then also he was supposed to go up against the Undertaker, and Undertaker nixed that, and so I think that gave Braun time to develop as a character and as a wrestler. So then once they started doing the squash matches with him in the beginning, where we met James Ellsworth, who we can talk about that in a minute. I think they gave him a more natural build as a giant, as opposed to like, oh, he's here and now he has the belt.
Well, blessing in disguise, he didn't go up against Undertaker, I think.
Yes, no, it's a good thing Undertaker was able to kind of pull that trigger.
Right.
But those are
he's delivered. He's stepped up, I think, more so than like someone like Big Cass, who's just big. Like,
what's going on with him?
Well, his
being
injury,
injured still.
I think he's out for like 8 more months or something, like something crazy. Like he's out for a while.
Oh, they did mention Roman Reigns coming back next week on Raw.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
For those who get dreamy over him.
Well, he's no longer sick, I guess. But they didn't want him coming to Europe, which makes sense. Which also, I guess that explains why Daniel Bryan was kind of taken out last week. Was also he's got a new baby. He's not going to be going to Europe.
That baby's so cute. Did you see that?
Oh, there's some.
We were going to talk about Total Divas in a little bit, but oh my God, that baby was so cute. Birdie.
Yeah, I do follow the Bella YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I subscribe to their YouTube.
Me too.
But it is honestly at this point now just all Daniel Bryan with his baby.
It's not even like the Bella Nikki with Dancing with. Oh, she got booted.
A little bit. There's a little bit of Nikki, but like I'll see if I can pull up one of the
That's so great.
One of those videos. And then over on SmackDown, the major thing that happened was AJ Styles has the belt. He won.
Yes,
he beat Jinder Mahal.
AJ Styles,
which is so great.
Well, it's so great, and also someone had looked. And it's the first time the WWE Championship has ever changed hands, not on North American soil.
Ah,
is that really?
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
So that's also kind of history making. That crowd popped huge. That England crowd blew up when AJ won. So that was big.
And it was kind of awesome because we didn't have a chance to watch it live just because of they're taping it in the UK,
yes,
on UK time, and then airing it here later. So we got the spoilers on Twitter and all that stuff. But that was really cool to see. I was just like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really.
So he will
good.
be the one facing against Brock Lesnar,
which I think is going to be a great match.
Which makes a lot more sense.
I think Brock will not phone that one in. He will care.
Yeah, no. That's kind of one of those interesting things because I know we thought for sure that Jinder was going to hold on to it because they're about to go do an India tour.
Yeah.
And so now that AJ has it. Questions abound.
I think though Jinder's gonna get it back after Survivor.
I think he'll get it back as well. I think they want to make this a big Survivor Series, I think also he will get it back. And speaking of belts changing hands, next week Natalya is going to face Charlotte.
Thank you. That was my dream.
Yeah, and so that's going to be right before Survivor Series, which we were talking about last week.
Yes.
Why was Natalya having a shit over the women's
match? Not being captain
when she has her own match? So that probably is telling us that either Charlotte's going to win and then Carmella will bank.
Yeah.
Or Charlotte's going to win and then Carmella will bank at Survivor Series. I'm going to bet that it's going to happen on Survivor Series.
I think it has got to happen on Survivor Series.
But we'll know next week because when we're recording this, we'll have SmackDown would have already happened. Yep. And also next week is when we're going to have our Survivor Series picks.
Yes.
For the belts.
Oh, I get to be part of this.
Yes. It's going to be awesome.
So exciting.
And so can all of you guys. I'll make sure you're on the Discord. Yes. Pete is helping us with that, which thank you so much, Pete. We're running that. And so fantasy picks will be updated, and then you can submit your picks up until the pre-show. That's when picks are locked, and then we will be giving we'll try to do a giveaway depending on who the amount of winners like over the last few pay-per-views. Yeah. And 3 of us, including Iffy, 3 of us, and we'll have 1 winner, and 3 of us will have to do something that you guys decide, and we'll figure that out on the Discord as well.
What's an example of something that our viewers have made us do?
Well, so far we haven't done this yet.
No,
so
not
nothing.
yet.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
I used to do a show with Alex and Elizabeth called Thumper Games, where if we lost, like I ate a ghost pepper.
Yeah.
Stuff like, but obviously we don't have to do that. We could do that. We'll leave it up to you, the people watching. So let us know in the Discord, or let us know on the YouTube in the comments as well,
or on Twitter at Ramble, like wherever it's convenient for you guys.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So it looks like there's going to be a Charlotte Natalia match next week. I'm pretty sure it's going to change hands, but we'll see, and we will talk about that. The other big SmackDown news is Shane announced the 5th member of SmackDown, Team SmackDown, and it's John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena.
Which is very, very interesting. Shane McMahon. Further proving SmackDown Live is a superior brand, I'm happy to announce John Cena will be the 5th member of Team SmackDown at Survivor Series.
Daddy's home too.
Very interesting. Yeah, it feels like it is probably his promotion for Daddy's Home too. But it's also interesting because I know the rumor was originally that John Cena might be the ref for the Brock Jinder match. So now that maybe that'll still happen with AJ, I don't know. But the fact that he's now going to be in a match, which is interesting because the reason we had heard that he was walking away mostly was because the Transformers movie he was filming, they were not, the insurance was not going to allow him to wrestle.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, because of the Shinsuke match. Because he got hurt. Well, he didn't get hurt, but he almost got hurt. And the Transformers
Scared the shit out of the insurance companies.
Oh, and the
Yeah,
producers of
sure.
Transformers, and they were probably like, no. Once we start, you're done. You're done for the majority of the filming. So I don't know if he had it in his contract, or maybe they're done filming, which would be very quick in 2 months.
it.
Yeah, I doubt that they're done filming a Transformers movie in 2 months. Granted, he's not marketed as the lead. The lead is supposed to be Haley Steinfeld.
He's just a member of the Witwicky family.
Yeah, so maybe he's done.
Maybe his scenes are done. Yeah.
I don't know, but it's interesting. So we'll see what happens there. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the Survivor Series match. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially with still Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon as the leaders. And also, Sami Zayn had a match against the New Day, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn lost again.
Sami Zayn is doing so well as a heel.
He's doing so great.
He's doing so great.
But I kind of wish he'd won the match.
Yeah, same.
Having him lose to Kofi, and I love Kofi, but having him lose to Kofi kind of makes it seem like his heel stuff is also like chicken shitty heel.
Yeah, that's it.
I kind of prefer dominant heels.
Yeah, but they're probably just trying to make New Day look strong for the Shield.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sammy's just enough. Yeah, he's just.
And so I guess speaking of Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, I guess apparently the boys got sent home from the UK tour.
Maybe they did it on purpose.
I
want to go home.
Yeah, we're not sure. According to 2 independent sources, this is a possible disciplinary action. No idea why. It's also possible that's not true. But very interesting that Owens and Sami Zayn would get sent home from the UK tour, and no one exactly knows why or what happened. So yeah, interesting stuff, and that's kind of all the stuff that kind of has been happening in WWE with them in Europe. So it's probably good to move over to New Japan.
Oh
where there
yeah.
was also,
But real quick,
I
I did want to mention that Becky Lynch had a match with Owens.
Oh,
yeah, James.
Because that's pretty cool.
We forgot about that.
Well,
I
here's
thought
the
it was
thing.
pretty cool.
That bummed me out.
It did.
I love Becky Lynch. I think
Yeah.
she deserves better than fighting the modern day Doink the Clown.
Yeah. Like an actual match.
An actual match that's deserving of her, as opposed to, frankly, the character over the last 2 weeks has been in poop underwear and in a dog costume.
That's
I
true.
think Becky Lynch deserves a lot better than that. And this is sort of sometimes the issue, and we've talked about this in the women's division, where if they're not going for the belt, they have no idea what to do with them.
Yeah.
Nobody ever is just like,
Because
I'm here
it
to
was
be...
a comedy bit, is what the whole thing
don't you
was.
It's 100% a comedy
It's like
bit.
a step towards the right direction.
But yeah, I'm
is
with you
what
on
I'm
that because
feeling,
I agree.
you
That's
know?
what I was just cool to see them actually doing something like that in the ring.
Right.
I was like, okay.
I'll take it.
Maybe,
you know?
I don't know. Frankly, and this sounds bad, I just, as long as Vince McMahon's in charge, I don't trust it. Because at this point, it's like, is just going to be like he's going to laugh and be like, oh, we should have that Irish girl fight the dog boy. That could be a feud for 2 months. Where I think, and this is me being pessimistic, a lot of people are looking at the optimism of like, oh, maybe there'll be intergender fighting now. Maybe it'll be like Lucha. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think this is, we have nothing for Becky Lynch because she's not going after the title. That's Charlotte right now. Let's put her in a comedy thing. Which is what WWE does when a woman's not going for the title. That's where you have on Raw. It is let's just put 5 of them in a match. It doesn't matter who wins.
They had all the women out there. They just threw them out there.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They were all cheering each other on for once.
Yeah, and so it's one of those like weird where it's like, and I would love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like frankly this is just going to be like a weird Ellsworth versus Becky Lynch in a dog suit match. 2 pay-per-views from now.
Are traumatized by that dog suit.
Oh, it was so dumb. And it's like, I think for me,
The only thing is that I like James Ellsworth, the person, not the character. Because he has so much respect with with the locker room and really has worked hard and all that. So it's unfortunate that they put him in that position as well. In addition to just making a comedy thing with Becky Lynch.
Because I think that's my concern is that it's going to be because it just seems like right now the SmackDown's women's picture is very clear, which is like Charlotte's going to get the belt, Carmella's going to either take it or not, and that's going to be the feud for the next month or two. Right. Natalia,
do you think they would do two not cash-ins, 2 failed cash-ins?
I just can't imagine Carmella being champion. To be honest with you.
I think she can. I not just because of not skill set, but I think because like she's got a good character. She has a good grasp on that character.
But it would be like a week-long champion. I think it's like she's got a great personality, and I like her a lot. But in terms of just that champion power, she doesn't really have it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. So I don't know. It's one of those things though, because it seems like again, I would point to Naomi. Like once Naomi lost that belt, they're like, I don't know what to do with her.
Yep.
Let's just fight Lana. I don't know.
Do you think Raw or SmackDown might be time for another women's belt? We don't have enough female wrestlers.
Oh, I think that's not the problem. I think it's literally a lack of ideas for the writing. It's like let's look at Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is great right now. Everything she does is awesome because she has the belt. Mickie James had a 2-month feud. Mickie James lost, and now Mickie James has appeared in the background of segments with other women because she's not going after the belt, so we don't have anything for her. I don't know. And so it's that kind of a weird thing. And
they just sit on the roster for 2 years like Summer Rae doing nothing and then until they're released.
So it's that weird thing of like, I don't know, like having like 2 or 3 women's segments where, and that's sort of the thing. I think, it's easy to always go to the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era certainly had its issues, but there's also a thing about the Attitude Era that...
Bra and panty matches.
Yeah, but the thing about the Attitude Era, as far as, as far as like a thing was like, it wasn't just, and this is the men's division, it wasn't just about who wants to get the championship belt. Right. It was about who wants to get the championship belt, but then they would also have... Jericho and Edge and Christian doing stuff that wasn't about getting a championship.
It was just genuinely genuine feuds.
It was feuds and stuff like that, and I feel like
stories.
Like I don't know why it's so hard for them to figure that out with the women. Is that if Sasha's not going for the championship, we can still give her another storyline as opposed to like I'm Becky's friend, I'm Bayley's friend.
Yeah,
I don't know. Can we have another 6-way match?
Yeah,
where we're not letting each other pin, and that's a story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It sucks. It's really what it is. And I think that's the thing. The James Ellsworth thing, maybe just go like, oh, Becky deserves better than this.
She does deserve better than that. But it was so.
Because some people were comparing this to the Chyna Jeff Jarrett match. No, Chyna walked away with a belt and beat the fuck out of Jeff Jarrett, who was an actual competitive wrestler.
Like Eddie Guerrero, she fought like she beat the shit out of the men.
So it's like that's where my mind's at, and hopefully I'm wrong. I just hope there's not a dog suit on a pole match.
How about no dog suit? Let's start with that.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So yeah, moving on to other things that have happened in the world of wrestling. Oh, shit, we already talked about that. Yep. So New Japan, major announcement. So let's just watch this video, and then we will talk about it after we're done.
Okay.
Kenny Omega. What a dynamic performer. What a fantastic, tremendous performer. But he's not the best in the world. I am. So many have claimed to be the best, from Shawn Michaels to Edge to CM Punk, but they're all gone, and I'm still here. Because I am the best in the world. I am the greatest of all time. I am the alpha of this business. And I'm gonna prove it. Because I'm challenging you, Kenny. Jericho versus Kenny. Alpha versus Omega. To see who is really the best. I want to meet you January 4th at WrestleKingdom 12 in the Tokyo Dome. So let's see who's really the best. Bitch.
It was awesome, and the reaction to that was amazing too.
Yes.
And Kenny, well, say whatever you guys want, because I want to tell you what Andy's reaction was.
Oh, I'm so stoked for this. So one of the things was what came out after this too. WWE had no idea. Jericho's currently not signed at all with WWE.
Oh, hell yeah, Jericho.
So they had no idea. He didn't tell them. He doesn't have to. He's a free agent at the moment.
I just love how he has like the star power to just do whatever the hell he wants.
Well,
Yeah,
and
love
so we talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago, but yeah, Kenny and Jericho have been kind of going at each other on Twitter.
Yeah, and that's why.
And so some people were wondering. Some people were wondering, like, what's going on, this, that, and the other. And then this video dropped.
Yep.
I am so stoked.
It's gonna be amazing.
I'm so jealous of you because you're gonna be there.
He's gonna be there.
It's gonna be my third WrestleKingdom.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be.
So we'll have some live reports.
Live reports.
Yeah.
from the live event.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. I don't know. It's one of those matches where you're like, it's a dream match you would book in your mind, but you're like, it's never gonna happen. And now it's happening.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm all for it. So tell us Andy's reaction.
Yes.
Well, that was the thing too, is that he was just like, "What the fuck?" Like because he was worked. Like he was mad. That's why I was saying laughing, because he was mad. He was like mad at Jericho for arguing with Kenny, and he was like, "Man, they don't like each other." It's like it's like kind of a bummer. He was kind of bummed out, and then he was like.
That's funny.
Yeah.
See, Hulk Hogan, Bruce Beefcake. This is the right way to use social media.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
It's like this, Kenny Omega going at each other, those kinds of things. Like that. This is how you want to do it.
Yeah.
The Miz going after Baron Corbin on Twitter. Like,
yes, exactly.
That's how you do a feud. Granted, this is.
Well, what if
they're
they're working us? What if Brutus and Hulk
they're going to be at WrestleKingdom?
Yeah, they're just like
geriatric WWE.
My God,
That's funny.
I'd watch the hell out of that. Mostly cry.
Because these are Andy's favorite wrestlers.
Well, Jericho. I mean,
so great
debatably,
for
Jericho's
both.
last year in WWE was a lot of people think it was his best year. You know,
It was good.
like
It
not
was
just his
good.
character, but you know the work he was doing. Jericho's a guy who thankfully is not trying to fight time, for lack of a better way of putting it. He knows what moves he can still do and what he can't and things like that.
And he wants to make other people look good.
Yeah.
That's always the case.
And he owns the mic. He's a package deal.
Yeah, Jericho thankfully is a guy who understands. Yeah, and the guy we're about to talk about, he kind of has that Ric Flair thing of like, I'm going to make you look good. What can we do to make you look good? And this, that, and the other. Known for being now very professional in the locker room and being one of the generals and stuff like that. So yeah, very exciting. I'm very excited.
We're
to watch this.
Jericho. Somebody at one point was like, "When are you going to have Bruce Campbell on your podcast?" And he was like, "Open invitation," because his son's name is literally Ash. Jericho's kid.
Oh.
And I tried to we've been trying to tell Bruce like, hey, can you do Jericho's podcast? He's like, I don't know. He doesn't. And I'm like, look at it, please. I'm trying to get him on to do it, please.
Have them both come here and do it. Tell Jericho that's the stipulation. That's the stip.
I know, right? If
you on Twitter.
You want Bruce?
You gotta come to Bruce's house.
That'd be amazing.
Tell him that's the stipulation. Have Bruce hold up a photo and then rip it.
We just would be Jericho.
Oh, nice.
Just do this.
The same exact thing.
Have him put the thing in his hair.
How old? What's the Omega's age range right now?
I don't know. Is he like 34?
I think he's around.
I thought he was a little older.
Let me look.
Maybe he's a little bit older. Freaking Kenny Omega, man, he just keeps getting better and better.
Oh my God, he's one of the best wrestlers.
Yeah,
right now.
and it was funny because Jericho said like he's not the best in the world. He's not even the best from Winnipeg, like because they're both from Winnipeg.
Kenny is 34.
Oh, they're both
Okay,
from Winnipeg.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
34.
that was.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the poster, actually, let's pull up that poster because that poster is so good.
Do we know any matches right now that are also on the WrestleKingdom card?
I don't know yet.
No, I haven't caught up. Usually I catch up like right before the big events.
Obviously, it's gonna be Okada somewhere.
Okada. So.
He's
I just
so
saw
perfect.
The Young Bucks tweeted recently. They were like, "Hey, Okada, remember when we beat you in TNA?" And it was a video of them beating Okada.
I don't know if this
Okada
is fan art or the official thing, but this is great.
The Terminator.
Yeah, if we can pull this up. Because we got, Omega Terminator and then Jericho with the death scarf.
The scarf.
The scarf looks like a leash, though. In that
it does kind of look a little bit like,
like some Dom stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a fan photo because this is like Jericho clearly during his Kevin Owens best friend era, the hair short and stuff like that.
I love that era. That was so fun.
Oh, so good. So that's great, and we'll definitely talk about that when that happens. Probably be watching it at 3 a.m. when it airs over here.
Yes, yeah.
I'll text you guys. This is what's happening, guys. Wake up.
Those are always so. Well, please be posting on the Discord too, because I mean, you're there, enjoy the event. But that's always so funny because Andy and I are always like up at like we're falling asleep and we're just like, this is so good, but we're so tired.
That's how you gotta watch wrestling. Ring of Honor news, which is pretty cool. Stephen Amell announced he is going to be at the Ring of Honor show in San Antonio. No news yet on what it is, but the release date, the date of this is also interesting. November 17th, which is the day Justice League comes out in theaters.
Oh,
so I don't know if Ring of Honor is doing some kind of WB cross promotion thing.
That'd be kind of weird.
That'd be kind of weird, but if not, even still, it's the fact that Green Arrow is appearing at a wrestling event again. As we all know, he had a great. I thought actually he did a really good job at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
With Cody Rhodes, Cody. Jesus.
Copy Rhodes?
Copy Rhodes. With Cody, and Cody's the Ring of Honor champ. So, again, don't know at the moment. This is all we got is this photo. Don't know if him and Cody are doing something. I would think so. Or at the very least. Or if Amell wanted to wrestle other people and Cody brought him in.
Yeah, that would it kind of gives him more cred if so.
Yeah, Amell's like a big wrestling fan. If you follow him on Twitter, he talks about wrestling pretty often for a guy who's probably really busy. Like we barely have time to watch all the wrestling we watch, and I'm not on set and having to be in this kind of shape. So so that's really cool. Good for him. I like that he's like a passionate fan. And by everything I read, like when he did SummerSlam, he really was like in the back trying to be like, I don't want to be that guy who like comes in and is like.
No, he cares.
Looks bad or feels gimmicky or anything like that. So good for him. So Ring of Honor.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be great. And I think I don't know if this is one of their pay-per-views or
what is the scroll on down a little
November
bit.
17th.
November 17th.
I wonder if he'll end up in the Hall of Fame celebrity.
He might.
He might.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Not for WWE because Cody, unless Cody were to come back and then bring him back in again.
Maybe like 15 years from now.
It's not saying whether this is a pay-per-view event or not. And another fun news. Corey Graves is feuding with Piers Morgan on Twitter.
Stop it.
What?
Which is amazing.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
So this is from what's the website?
SB Nation.
SB Nation, yeah. So this happened during a call of Raw on Monday night. Corey Graves cracked. Enzo might be the only guy less liked in England than Piers Morgan. A clip of this somehow made its way to the television personality. And yesterday, the former CNN and current Good Morning Britain host fired back with a shot at Graves.
What he says.
You're the guy who couldn't make it as a wrestler, so turned to bad commentary, right? The savior of misbehavior who retired from the ring in 2014 due to a concussion, but I don't think Morgan knows that, responded with a line, which is a pretty good example of wit, which has led many to compare him to announcing skills as the all-time greats. I'm sorry, I meant no disrespect. I had no idea who you were. I simply Googled most hated man in England.
Jeez.
Welcome to relevance, though.
Oh, the shake, Corey.
Wow.
The relevance line was probably unnecessary, but no harm, no foul, as Piers only has to go to that old, but I've got more followers well. He does make a nice WWE analogy, though. Maybe, mate, I have 5.8 million more followers than you. When it comes to relevance, I'm John Cena and you're Heath Slater.
Oh!
The great thing is other superstars jumped in on both sides of the beef. Renee Young has her colleagues back and her own guesses about how Morgan discovered his 15 seconds of WWE fame. Laugh out loud. Guess someone was feeling lonely tonight, so searched his own name. That's from Renee Young. While Enzo solidified his heel status by sliding in with the other most hated man in England. From one journalist to another, your facts are straight. And this was not covered, but Corey did respond to the John Cena Heath Slater line from Piers Morgan, and he said, "Look, seriously, I meant no disrespect. I love your car karaoke show."
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Corey's so good.
So story developing.
There you go. Pierce Morgan and Corey Graves. Let's do it.
Oh man, so good. So to wrap this up, two things to talk about: other television stuff, documentaries, or reality TV.
I've missed on both of those.
Missed
But
on
I'll
both.
chime in.
The 30 for 30 documentary that we've been talking about for a while, Nature Boy, aired last night on ESPN, and I was able to catch it. Actually, the funny thing is my DVR didn't record it, and I was like, no. But I bought it on iTunes. It was $4.
Oh, okay. That's a way
nice.
to do it. Okay.
So I just bought it on iTunes. Good. I thought it was really good.
It was awesome. Like, yeah, we watched last night.
Oh, you got
It
to
was
watch it too,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. It was just, it was amazing. Like,
Yeah, I think I'll say this. If you don't know, if you're somebody who has no idea, and that's who these 30s for 30s are for.
Right.
If you're like a super fan of Ric Flair, you're not going to hear anything you didn't already
Right.
know. There's no new information on this. This is a little dirtier than a WWE documentary would be, mostly talking about the amount of sex that he's had, and his drinking, and things of that nature.
Sounds like a wrestler.
Yeah. So you're not going to get. There's no new information, I think, in this.
it was a lot more raw.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
But that was shot very well.
That's what I liked about it.
I like the way it was shot. This is my personal taste. Not the biggest fan of the cartoons for lack of footage thing that got a lot, and that's kind of become a documentary trend in the last 2 or 3 years, where it's like we don't have footage of the thing they're talking about, so let's do a cartoon of it.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah, they were doing like him on a plane. He comes out and he's naked, and it's like a cartoon of Sting just like hiding in the on the plane and things like that. Where it was just like some of the moments where like the clash of context was a little odd.
And that's again a personal thing for me. I'm not a big fan of the animation in a documentary unless the documentary's about animation.
I did like it, but I can see the reasoning being
Well, I almost feel, and this is again like
it makes it.
I watch way too many documentaries. I think it's more powerful to look into someone's eyes as they're telling a story, as opposed to like the cartoons always feel like to me like a producer going, people are going to get bored.
Oh yeah.
Let's jazz it up. Let's jazz it up.
That's
people
true.
don't want to watch someone just talking, and I'm like, no, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole. Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
But that's the only, and that's maybe a minor nitpick, and that's just my personal taste. I think other people might really like it. It's well done animation.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, you got to check it out.
And
then talk to us on the Discord about it. If you guys, I asked you if any of you've seen it. But yeah, share your opinion on there with us.
The section about Reed, his son, I think was probably to me my favorite section of the film. It's very heartbreaking.
I cried.
Charlotte is on there as well, doing talking head segments. I do. So if there's any things I wish there was more of, and this isn't changing the documentary, just wish there was more of. I do wish there was a little bit more with his first two kids.
Yeah.
They kind of pop in real quick and have a minor talking head segment and then kind of disappear from the film. I think they probably had a lot more to say. His first wife I thought was really interesting. She actually had a lot to say. I liked her a lot. I do kind of feel like their divorce and everything like that is kind of really just quickly dealt with in the documentary. Like it feels like it's almost like for such a life that this man has lived.
It should be 3 hours.
Yeah, I feel like there's a longer version of this film. So there's a lot about his early years, and there's a lot about in the 80s, they talk about the Four Horsemen, but then I feel like the 90s and WCW has kind of gone over very quickly. Right. It's just like, then the 90s happened, and he wrestled Hulk Hogan, and then he went to WWE in the 2000s. Like WCW in the 90s is covered very quickly, almost probably in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. That's just what you have to pick.
I know,
kill your darlings.
But I think the interesting thing is like there was a lot that happened to it. It doesn't need to be a documentary about WCW, but there was a lot that happened to Ric Flair in WCW in the 90s. Not just like like the way they talk about it is like, he would sell for everybody, which probably wasn't great. And then they show like a quick match of him with Disco Inferno, and he's selling really hard. Like Disco Inferno's this amazing wrestler. But there was a lot of stuff that did happen in the 90s. He got, for those who don't know, in WCW in the 90s, he got fired at one point by Eric Bischoff. He sued WCW. His son became a wrestler, not Reed, his other son. Other one. For a while, they had a feud. He then became the booker of WCW. None of this is talked about in the documentary. I feel like those are kind of major
They're kind of big, yeah.
that are just not discussed. And it's weird to me that the 90s is so very quickly
because the glory of him was the 80s and stuff. So
and his TNA stuff I think is touched on. Also not as much, but that's fine with me.
That's fine because it was seen as something that was like
sad.
He was not doing
sad, and so and I think giving that less actually made sense. But overall, a great documentary. He's still so charismatic.
Yes.
They obviously do not touch upon, because they couldn't when they were filming it, but I actually was a little surprised there wasn't a text segment about his recent health scare.
Oh, right.
I thought there would be because there was a segment where they talk about his drinking and the amount of drinking he does, and the director asks him, have you ever thought about not drinking? And Rick goes, why would I?
Yeah.
I would have thought, with that, there would have been a text thing at the very end where it's like, after the production of this segment, Rick went into the hospital, this, that, and the other, he's no longer drinking. Something like that. It wasn't there. I don't think you needed it, but I always think about film in a case of 5 years from now when someone's watching
people
this,
want to know.
Are they going to be like, man, they didn't touch on that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And this came out the same year that happened.
Yeah.
But a little imperfect here and there, but overall, I think it's a really good documentary. It's worth your $4. If you don't know about Ric Flair, if this is not stuff you know about, especially if you don't know about 80s, 70s wrestling, Vern Gagne is not a name you're familiar with. I would definitely recommend this highly. And it looks great. And so, let us know what you think.
I will.
When you check it out. On the other end of the spectrum, Total Divas is back.
Total Divas.
Another documentary. No.
Yeah, another documentary.
Total Divas. They were covering the women's Money in the Bank ladder match that they had, which was
the lead up to it. Because this episode,
that's right.
the episode, so we record this on Wednesdays now. The episode tonight will be the match
the actual
itself.
match.
Yeah, so this is all the lead up. Where we learn Natty's afraid of heights.
She's scared.
I feel like that's completely staged.
Oh, it's 100%
How are you a
staged.
wrestler and scared of heights?
It's 100%
No,
staged.
she's full. That's so dumb.
no
But that
way.
was one of the stories. A story was Daniel Bryan going back to work after Birdie being born, the daughter.
Yes.
Nia Jax and Maurice. Maurice, I thought was very good actually on the episode because she, playing the character that she's playing, the woman that wants to be respected.
Yes.
Because she had a little tiff with Nia Jax. Nia Jax was saying like, "Oh, have you ever been in a gauntlet match, or have you ever done this?" Like, kind of rubbing it in her face, the fact that she isn't a part of the women's revolution now.
Yeah.
Because back then she was only given 2 minutes to go out there and tell a story.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I thought that I really like Miz and Maurice on Total Divas because I think they're really good actors. They're just really good.
Well, I will say
Yeah, they are
the
good.
thing, and I like Nia Jax, but the thing this show is going to do, I think, for Nia Jax, not in the positive, is we've had people comment before that they find Nia's voice annoying or it doesn't feel to match her character because she has a Valley Girl voice with this big character. This show really is going to lay that groundwork further because Maurice is getting mad at her and she's like, that's not what I was saying.
That's not what I was saying. You misunderstood. Just went over your head.
You need to get out of my face right now. It's very.
That's so great.
Alexa Bliss is on the cast now. She's great.
She's actually really cool. I didn't know that she and Nia Jax were actually best friends.
Yeah, I think
they travel together.
They ride together, which I'm very happy about that. This show can occasionally
watch this now.
Oh yeah, so good.
Carmella too's in it.
Yeah, but she wasn't featured on this episode.
No,
she's on the cast, but she wasn't featured.
She'll be probably next one. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
considering
she's
she
the
wins.
Winner,
It's a difficult show because I think it can make, and we've talked about this before, it can make people who maybe don't have a lot of screen time on the actual Monday, Tuesday show, give them a personality. I like the Usos because of Total Divas more than they have great in-ring ability, but when they were baby faces, it was kind of dull. They were just kind of high flyer. And then when you watch them on Total Divas, I was like, oh, these guys are really funny.
They're really funny.
The dudes,
I already liked Rusev, but Rusev on Total Divas is hysterically funny. And so, and a lot of the women end up shining as well, where you're kind of like, oh, I like this person's personality. The opposite can happen though too, where Natty,
I'm sorry.
Natty's an amazingly talented wrestler. She comes across sometimes very vapid on the show, quick to
Just
anger,
a little cray-cray.
little cray-cray. She's no longer with the company, but Rosa.
Oh yeah, I remember
That
that.
was a while ago.
It was a while ago. She came across and I use this term.
That was weird though, because she wasn't even wrestling.
She wasn't even a wrestler, but she came across oh, someone's gonna get mad at me. Dumb.
Yeah,
No, you're right.
Very ditzy.
Very ditzy, very dumb, very.
I'm like, this can't be real. Like
yeah,
her,
that kind of like with the Natties of Scared Heights. I feel like they wanted to script her as that. Paige often came across very oddly childish and aloof.
Yeah.
I actually always liked Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox I became a fan of because of Total
Yeah,
Divas.
she was actually
she was a little crazy,
Yeah.
but like fun. And she's not on this season. I don't know why.
Some of the things she was going after her ex-boyfriend from eons ago. I'm like, okay, you need to kick back.
yeah. But sometimes she was also very funny.
Yeah.
The Bellas are still on there. Just because they have Total Bellas doesn't mean they're not on there. They're just not the basically what happens when it goes from Total Bellas to Total Divas is like JJ and the family's not on the show anymore.
Yeah.
But you're still dealing with Nikki and Brie. The thing now is like they're both not wrestling. Like this is right after Mania, so it's kind of becoming about like what is Nikki's relationship to the company? What is she becoming?
Because apparently she was in the running to become a GM instead of Daniel Bryan, right?
I saw that preview.
Yes.
So apparently, and that's why when Daniel Bryan gets called that he's supposed to go back to work, that it's evident that Nikki didn't get the job.
And they actually talked about that on their YouTube page. They do Nikki and Brie do like an after show thing, I guess, on their YouTube where they're like, oh my god, we just watched it. And what Nikki kind of said about it on there was basically like the company was slightly on board, but at the same time, it would have worked better if the week Brian left, she came in the next week, and then there was, from what she was told, just too much of a gap between.
It would never have worked.
Him going, her. I know, yeah. It was one of those things where I hear it and I'm like, But yeah, so a new episode tonight, and yeah, we're gonna be talking about it because sometimes there is some interesting behind the scenes stuff that does come up.
Yeah,
on
it
that
does.
show.
That's exactly what. That's why I love the show because I get to hear things like that. Like just the fact that they were even considering putting Nikki as a GM as opposed to Dan Bryan. Like that stuff is awesome. Like that's the kind of stuff I want to hear.
And then it's the only place you get to still see Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Yeah. Daddy.
Yeah, Daddy. How big is this ladder? I don't know. He's crazy. I love him. So, guys, that's what's going to do it for this week in wrestling. Like we said, big week. So go watch that Nature Boy documentary.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about Jericho going over to New Japan. What happened to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? My God. And what do you think about John Cena going over to SmackDown? Let us know, guys. Please jump into the Discord. Let us know on the Twitters. Follow the Ready to Ramble Twitter on Twitter.
You're right, though. Nothing wrong with that.
Send us those wrestling gifts. We love them. They're always fun. Janelle, anything you want to plug, or where can people find you?
Just follow me on all the social media stuff and follow me on Twitch because I do. I've been streaming some competitive Overwatch. I've been doing with Andy. He heals me and I kill things. It's very fun.
Very nice.
And that's at Janelle Santa Cruz on everything.
So he's your support.
Yes, he supports me.
Perfect. Okay, work.
You can find me everywhere on social media at KAORIOUS, as well as my YouTube channel.
Fantastic. As for me, twitter.com/Jurassic Alien, pretty much is on there all the time. Also, something to plug on YouTube, two different things on Hyper's YouTube. First of all, the Nightmare on Elm Street RPG that Janelle was a cast member of is up there. Go check it out. I got the GM and write that. That was a lot of fun. And also, me, Lucas, and Elizabeth did a Stranger Things 2 review, so go check that out. And let us know what you think. If you agree or disagree, let us know in the comments. However, don't use the word nitpicking because I don't think you actually know what it means. But yeah, guys, go watch wrestling. We'll see you next week. Woo!